Hey guys, does anybody else get really frustrated at how long it takes them to air their tires down before a trail? Or more importantly, how long it takes to air their tires back up after the trail ride's over? Well, if you're super impatient like I am, you really hate that process because it just takes forever, especially on big 37-inch tires like this. So I set out to find a better solution, and on this episode of Chasing Dust, I'm going to be introducing you guys to a new product that has quite literally changed my life. Hey, what is up, you guys? Matt McAdam here, aka Desert Chief, only on Driving Lines Chasing Dust. And on this episode, we're talking about the new monster valves that I just purchased for my new KMC Beadlock wheels and my Nitto 37-inch Recon Grapplers. And I went ahead and installed a set of these on my tires, but I left the spare apart so I can show you guys just exactly how they go in and what makes these valves such a game changer when it comes to airing down and airing up your tires before and after a trail ride. Like I was mentioning in the intro, I really am an impatient person, and the last thing I want to do before I'm getting onto a trail, you know, you're itching, you want to get on the trail, have a great day, it's early in the morning, is sit there for half an hour and air down your tires, and then blend your air down tool to your friend so he can do the same thing with his rig. And then the whole process repeats itself all over again at the end of the trail ride when you're tired, you're beaten, you want to go home, you want to get back to camp, whatever it is, spend another half an hour airing up all four of your tires. It is a huge pain for me, and so luckily I found this solution from Power Tank, and I want to show you guys all about these monster valves, how they work, how they go in, and just how much of a benefit you can expect to see from a set of these inside your wheels. So as you can see right here, we got my Bronco Raptor. It is mostly stock. It just got a set of 37-inch Recon Grapplers on the stock wheels for now. But over here, I got a little station set up for you guys demonstrating these Power Tank monster valves. So we got a Nitto Recon Grappler 37, 12, 50, 17 right here, and a KMC Grenade Beadlock with the desert ring on it. And this right now just has a standard valve stem inside of it over here. It's just a TPMS valve stem like you'd find on a stock wheel. I, in fact, took them out of my stock tires and put them in these right here. So the cool thing about the KMC wheels is they actually come pre-drilled with a secondary hole, and this is where you would mount the Power Tank monster valve. All wheels do not come with this hole here. The KMC Grenade Beadlocks do. I'm sure a lot of their other beadlock wheels also do come with a secondary hole. But the beauty of these monster valves is that you can actually drill pretty much any wheel for the monster valve. So the cool thing about the KMCs is that they already come with the hole in there, as well as the other hole for just the standard valve stem. All right, so before we dive into the installation of the monster valve, I want to talk a little bit about the specs on these and what Power Tank advertises them as. Of course, these aren't really new technology. They've been out for probably like 10 years now, but it's cool that they make the KMC drop-in style now. So if you have the KMC beadlock wheels, you're going to have that secondary hole inside your wheel and you can just drop these in. So that was my thought process when I got these new wheels, was to get these alongside it. So I believe these are rather new, probably a couple of years old now, but they're new to me. I've never actually used them before, but so far I'm really impressed with how well they work. So Power Tank actually advertises these monster valves to be able to air down a 40 by 1350 by 17 tire from 35 pounds down to 10 pounds in just 30 seconds. So that's the fastest air down I've ever heard of. And then they also advertise that you can air that tire back up to 35 pounds in just 45 seconds. So that, you can imagine, can save you a lot of time when you're airing down and airing up big tires. Now, I've only got 37s on my Bronco. However, they are the biggest tires I've ever ran on a vehicle. So they're taking a lot longer to air up and air down than my other trucks. And that is what kind of prompted me to look for a faster solution. That's pretty fast. You know, I've never really seen a system that can air up that fast, and especially with the Power Tank itself, with the CO2 tank, which is already very fast compared to a compressor. It's really going to be nice to pair that system with these monster valves right here. So a closer look at what a regular valve stem looks like. This is just your standard TPMS valve stem right here. Just rubber. It's got a cap on there right now with some metal insides. And then the TPMS sensor will actually bolt to the end of it right here. Pretty small. Just wanted to give you guys an idea of what the size looks like, and then compare it to the actual size of the monster valve from Power Tank. You can see pretty big size difference. The monster valve is much bigger, And if you take this cap right here off, you can see the valve core inside of it, and that is also enlarged. But I want to show you guys the construction of this thing and exactly how it's put together and how it works, and then how it actually goes into the wheel right there. So when you get the kit from Power Tank, it looks kind of like this. It's got a nice case. You open it up right here, and this is the 5 valve kit right here, because I have a full-size spare tire. The Jeep guys will run pretty much the same thing. Any Broncos run the same thing, but they do make them with 4. So in case you just have a truck that doesn't have a full-size spare, you can get the 4. But the kit is all basically right here, minus the other 4 valve stems. So you get obviously the 4 or 5 valve stems that you ordered. You get the tool that helps you with installing these into your wheels. You get the monster chuck, which is what you use to air up the valve stems, the monster valves. This is different from a normal chuck. As you can see, it's oversized for the bigger valves. And what's really cool is they also include a valve core tool that has both the standard valve core tool and the oversized valve core tool for the monster valve itself. So very cool that they include this, because if you ever have an issue with one of your valve cores, you can actually use this to remove either the monster valve or your regular valves. And also included inside the kit is a little bit of blue Loctite for the monster valve installation, and you'll use this to install it, as well as some grease in case these threads right here get a little bit, dirtied up over time. You can use it to grease this up. Basically what you get in the kit right here, they also include some what they call valve caps, I guess. These are unlike not your standard thread-on valve caps, but these go on just like this. And what's it's supposed to do is help you, give you about 5 seconds of additional time when you're airing up and airing down. I haven't tested these to see if they stay on, but they just kind of pop right on top of the valve stem just like that, and then they come right off. So you get a set of these with the kit as well. All right, so before you start the installation process, you really have to get to right around this point in putting your wheels and tires together. Most beadlocks, you're gonna wanna do them at home, make sure all this stuff is torqued down correctly, installing your TPMS sensors, if you have them inside your vehicle. My new Raptor obviously does. So I went ahead and pulled the factory TPMS sensors and put them in the wheel ahead of time before I put the tire on the wheel. And then you're left with this secondary hole here from KMC. If you have these wheels, they have that extra hole. Some people, if they don't run power tanks, they just run another regular valve stem in there. But since I have these monster valves, I'm gonna show you how these are assembled and put inside of this secondary valve stem hole. All right, so here we have the power tank monster valve, and this is the MV4, which is basically for the KMC wheels right here. I'm gonna show you guys what this is all made up of. So of course up here you have the cap. This is a nice thread-on cap, and you just unthread it. And the cool thing about this is it actually has a leash on it. It's like a rubber leash. So when you do take it off, you don't have to worry about losing that cap. It just kind of dangles down in your wheel. And then in there you have your valve core as well. So you can see that down inside there. Now you have this red collar. This entire body here is threaded. This red collar is what you actually use to air down with the monster valves. And how it works is you just unthread it, loosey-goosey. And as you do, you'll see that inside the body of this valve is a bunch of drilled out holes right here. This is super nice aluminum construction, very strong, very lightweight as well, so you don't have to worry about, throwing your wheels off balance or whatever. They're nice and lightweight. There's an O-ring in there, and that's basically what keeps the air inside while this is closed. But when you open it up, this is when air is going to be rushing out of this valve when it's installed inside your wheel with the tire on it and it's aired up. So for now, I'm going to just shut that, close it up right here for you guys. And on the other end here, you have this cone nut, which just threads on and threads off. So I'm going to take it off for you. And then there's this collar that the cone nut kind of sits inside of, just like this. You can see it kind of comes out through the collar there. So I'm going to set that aside for now. There is another grommet here that sits on top of the threads. And then you have a spacer, and this spacer is actually optional to run depending on how deep your wheels are, how thick the material your wheels are. On the KMCs, I do need these because this is a very long threaded end right here of this valve, so it actually pokes out too far if I don't have this spacer. But it's very important that you make sure that that O-ring right there actually sits on the grooved end of that spacer. So I'm going to assemble this back the way it's supposed to go on the wheel so I can show you guys how it works. You want to have this slider and the spacer on there just like that, and then you want to put this grommet back on there just like that, and that is going to be what protrudes through the inside of your wheel. Okay, so this is basically how you want it to be set up before you install it in the wheel. I got my wheel turned around here so you guys can see. Then there's the addition of this cone nut, which is going to sit right here on the outside. So I'm going to show you guys how this works. Basically, you just take your valve stem, and I need to run the spacer on it because, again, my wheels are a little bit of a thinner material. I'm going to go ahead and just insert this through the backside, and as you can see right there, the threaded end is protruding through the inside part of the wheel there. I'm going to slide this spacer on there just like that, and then this cone nut needs to go on that threaded end right there. But before we do that, I need to put a little bit of blue Loctite on there just to keep that from moving. All right, so it's really cool. The Power Tank actually provides us with this blue Loctite, so I'm just going to put a little dab right there on the threads, just how you normally would apply Loctite, and it will just kind of permeate throughout those threads as you thread that cone nut on. Set that aside for just now. Okay, so this spacer obviously has to go on with the tapered end facing outward. So we're gonna put that on just like that, and then start hand threading this cone nut onto the valve on the inside of the wheel here. It's gonna get tight, but you're gonna wanna make it a little bit tighter than that. So they provide you with this tool that has the appropriate, I guess, like notches in here to fill the notches on the valve. And you just kind of place that in there, and then you tighten it down with a wrench. So you're gonna need to use an 8mm wrench. I got right over here. I got a ratcheting style one here. And we're gonna just put this right there, just like that. Hold the valve from the inside, and then just tighten it up. You don't wanna put too much pressure on this. You just wanna get it nice and snug because that O-ring is gonna seal it for you. Okay. Once it's tight, your valve stem is basically installed. It took literally less than 5 minutes to put this in when you have the tire off the wheel. It makes it a lot easier when you have the wheels off of the tires. Otherwise, you're going to have to be reaching in there inside the tube to try to actually install this, and it's a lot harder. And there it is from the outside of the wheel, coming around to the outside. You can see right here on the inside where the cone nut is kind of protruding through right there. Very low profile, looks really good, nice and tight. Okay, so once you have your Power Tank monster valves installed, you want to just go ahead and proceed with the normal installation of your beadlock wheels. Obviously, I just have the ring on this right now. So you take the ring off, slide it in from the back end, center the ring on there, and then start torquing all these beadlock bolts down. And then you're ready to start airing it up and finishing the assembly of the wheel and tire package. Casual Lamborghini in my alley, that's cool. Okay, so once you have your wheels and tires all mounted, balanced, whatever, filled up with air, this is basically a complete package right here. So I'm gonna show you guys just how fast you can air down this tire. I have these set to 30 PSI right now, which is a normal street pressure, and I'm gonna drop down to 10 PSI, which is what a normal rock crawling pressure would be for these tires. These are, again, a 37, 1250, 17, Nitto Recon Grapplers, all terrains. I use these for pretty much any kind of wheeling. And 10 pounds is great for a D-rated tire like this. Gives you plenty of extra contact patch. So that's normal pressure that I would run on a trail. We're gonna air this down to 10 pounds. I'm gonna show you how to do it with the monster valve, which you can see installed right over here. So it's highly recommended that you buy one of these chucks, or at least a gauge like this. Power Tank sells this as an option with your monster valves. I went ahead and got this. And what this does is you actually will clip this onto your stock valve stem, which in this case, mine is the TPMS valve stem. We'll take this little rubber cap off of there and clip this guy right onto there, just like that. And as you can see, got just a hair under 30 pounds of pressure inside the tire right now. I'm gonna air this tire down to about 10 PSI, and I'm gonna show you just how fast it can do it with the monster valve. All right, gauge set to about 29 pounds or so. Gonna go ahead and just loosen up this red collar here. And you're gonna start to hear air coming out of it, just like that. You're gonna wanna open it all the way up. And just like that, you're done. That was about 30 seconds, maybe a little bit less, but incredibly fast because of just how big this valve is right here. Okay, so airing up is very easy. Once we have the monster chuck hooked up to our 15-pound power tank bottle right here, basically you just have to turn this knob right here and air is gonna start flowing into the tire. Now I've got our gauge here hooked up to the standard valve stem. So we're gonna turn this knob and watch this gauge start flying up. Ready? And here we go. Very fast, that's already 5 PSI added. At 20. 25. And back to 30. Undo this guy, lock on there, pull that off. And then you want to just thread your monster valve cap back on there. Pop the gauge off of this side. You want to make sure you put your cap back on your valve stem there, just like that. And that's pretty much it. All right, so as you can see, these monster valves are very fast at airing up and airing down your tires, making the whole process very simple, very smooth, especially if you already have the wheels that have the 2 valve stem holes in them. Definitely want to pick up a set of these if you are constantly airing up and airing down your tires like I am on the Bronco. It's going to be a huge, huge help from just using the regular, air up, air down tools that go on the factory valve stems. They're just not very fast. So I'm really excited to use these on the trail and be done with airing up and airing down my tires before everybody else, especially in the wintertime, you get back inside the vehicle where it's nice and warm. And as a bonus, your wheeling buddies are not going to be relying on you to borrow your air down tools or your air up tools because you have these new monster valves and it's likely that they don't have them. So a little bonus perk. But that's going to do it for us today, you guys, on Chasing Dust. Stick around because on the next episode, I'm going to have these, hopefully, on the Bronco and wheeling with them. So I'm going to show you guys just how fast they work on the trail and hopefully get some clips of my buddies really jealous of how fast this thing can air up and air down with the new power tank monster valves. But that is going to be it for today's episode. We appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to subscribe to Driving Line if you haven't already. We're making all kinds of content in every form of automotive that you may be into. And once again, this has been your pal Matt McAdam, aka Desert Chief, only on Driving Line's Chasing Dust. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching Driving Line. If you guys like this video, consider subscribing to our channel so you'll never miss any of the content we create here. Whether you're into trucks, Jeeps, imports, domestic vehicles, or anything in between, we are here to fuel your passion. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you guys next time.